Today, I wanted to talk about how to take your tax refund to the next level. So there's a lot of variations of what you could do. You could spend it. There's so many different ways that you can slice and dice it, but I'll talk about the main things that I see. So definitely do not do this. Spend it before you actually know how much you're getting back. Unfortunately, it's a very common issue where people are used to getting a certain amount every single year, but there's been some significant tax changes, especially for 2018 tax year. So don't assume that you know what you're going to get back because you may not get that same amount. This is what most people do though. So you can see that kind of circling around in circles, they actually end up in the exact same spot that they were previously. And so that's because they spend it on low value items and experiences that don't really move the needle on what's adding value to their life. And they're definitely not investing in assets to kind of help them grow into the future. So if you do want to really start taking that next level, you really want to kind of start at a foundation. And a good foundation is establishing an emergency savings account. If you have debts, that's definitely a concern. But if you apply it right towards those, an emergency comes up, you end up going right back into debt, and it sometimes could be even worse off than before. So establishing emergency savings, I would say at least 3 months of living expenses is going to be kind of the bare minimum of what you should be keeping in an emergency savings account. And then kind of looking at that next level, it would be attacking some of that high interest debt. So if you have really low interest rates, like mortgages tend to be lower interest rates, or maybe even you have an older vehicle loan that has like a 2 or 3% interest rates, I wouldn't be too concerned with attacking those things. But if you have credit card debt in the teens or 20%, really high interest amount, and you're paying a lot every single year, so you definitely want to start knocking those things out if you can. So if you already have that emergency savings, start going after some of that high interest debt. And that the third one is going to be applying it towards high value goals. Just for one example, I have 2 different clients that are both saving towards similar goals. So they're both getting married and they both want to go on a honeymoon, but they want to stay out of credit card debt. And so they've actually already established pretty significant savings each month towards that goal. But obviously having some additional funds in the form of a tax refund is going to help them get to that goal a lot faster. So once you have those things in place, you can start applying it towards some really high value goals that you need to basically fund either way. And so now you get ahead of the game. And lastly, for the level 4, it's going to be investing in assets. So the biggest thing with assets is assets tend to increase in value. They end up working for you. And so it kind of gives you a little bit of relief, a little bit of pressure, and you're not the only one carrying the load anymore because your assets start to help you. And obviously, if you're just starting out, this is the assets are going to be a very minimal part of what's adding value to your wealth over time. But as you accumulate over the years, those things will end up out earning you actually in the future. So it's pretty cool. And so just in review, why you would actually want to begin leveling up is there's definitely a lot of benefits. So you create a new level of financial success. And so with that, you tend not to want to go backwards. You don't want to backtrack once you've reached a certain level. If you have an emergency savings fund at $20,000, if you get to $19,000 and you're like, oh man, that's so annoying, I want to build it back up. So that's one of the benefits of kind of reaching new levels and new heights. Absorbing surprises and increase in opportunities. So absorbing surprises with that emergency savings, definitely you're able to ride those things out without going backwards or into a hole. Then increase opportunities. So when things come up, you're able to act on them without the fear of, oh man, is this the right move? Because you've already started doing a lot of the things right, and you're in a better position than you would have been previously. That gives you a lot of confidence. You have a little bit more swagger when it comes to making financial decisions. You're not second guessing yourself as much because you know that you're starting to do the right things and start to gain some momentum. You're making better decisions, and your assets are going to begin to work for you. And like I said, over time, as your assets grow, they're going to start out earning you, which is a crazy thing to experience, but definitely something to strive for in your long-term planning. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully I gave you a couple different ways that you personally can start attacking some of these benefits of leveling up and taking your tax refund to the next level.